Well, hi, I'm Florian. I'm one of the co-founders of Nerdalize. First of all, I want to give a very, very big thank you to Master Center for Entrepreneurship, who were organizing the local hero award yesterday, which we were fortunate enough to win. But I'll be telling you a bit about Nerdalize, about heating houses with computing power, silly ideas and how we got that silly idea, and along the lines, a few things we figured out what it actually means to set up a company with a silly idea. So Nerdalize is all about heating houses with computing power. This is the team, Boas, Matthias and myself, who co-founded Nerdalize. And I mean, the team you work with makes a big difference on what you can reach and what you can achieve. And I think we have an amazing team with a lot of weird personality and a lot of fun. So where do ideas come from, and where did our idea come from? I personally think there's three main areas ideas come from. It's pain, idiots, and happiness. Pain, if something is a pain, if something is annoying you, then you want to find a solution. Or if you see something that people suffer in China by not having food, well, that makes you think of, hey, there's something I want to change. Idiots, idiots create usually pain that make you want to think of a solution. And happiness, if you see something that creates happiness and you want to find a way that, and I mean happiness in the broadest sense, that you can create something that makes more people happy, or that brings more people something that they love or that they're happy about. In our case, it was the second one. If I go back to the team, you can look at Boas. He's a bit of an idiot sometimes, but in the best sense of the word. I really like the guy. He's awesome. But what happened is him and Matthias were living together. They were renovating the house. And the wall where the thermostat was hanging, that also needed to be painted. So they took the thermostat off. It was in the winter, about -10, -15 degrees outside. Not the smartest move, really. So they took it off, painted the wall, and when they wanted to reinstall the thermostat, it didn't work because the wire was broken. So you sit in a house that's, by the minute, getting colder. Have fun. And Matthias, he studied computer science. He was working away on his laptop like crazy. Well, add 1 blanket, add 2 blankets, add 3 blankets. And somebody, you have used all the blankets in the house. Now it's just, from here on, it's just getting worse. At some point he grabbed his laptop to go to bed because, well, then you have also the mattress that's going to keep you warm as well. And he grabbed his laptop and he said, oh, that's nice and warm. So he went to Boas and said, you know what, I'm going to buy 100 laptops, put them in one room, and then at least we're warm and we're not going to die tonight. Of course, they thought that was a really hilarious idea, and the next day they were like, maybe this is not such a stupid thing to do, because computers create a lot of heat, and if you look at data centers, well, you dump all that heat to the outside. But how do you know if your really crazy sounding or stupid idea is really a good idea? And that's what for us, well, we had the idea now. We should, fun joke, but how are we going to go about doing that? And one thing is, well, start thinking about it and then ask people and tell as many people about your stupid idea until somebody says, maybe your idea is not as retarded as you thought it was. And then look, and validate. And that's, there's many ways you can go about that. And what we found out, there was a fantastic event at the beginning of this year called Startup Pirates. Also, one of the fantastic people anyways here is Anna, who's organizing all kinds of stuff in Maastricht about entrepreneurship, and she was organizing Startup Pirates. We had nothing apart from the idea, and we decided to sign up and see where do we get within 1 week, working on a business plan, working on the idea, trying to work it out. And for us, that was really we did a bit of research before, but that would really helped us from getting to the point, like, okay, how is this possible? And then we started calculating the first business case, and we ended up with numbers thinking, it's a bit too good to be true. What I guess we have to go on then with it. And then, in general, you have the Master Center for Entrepreneurship here. So if you have a retarded, stupid, crazy, or fantastic idea, but you don't know how to go about it, talk to Winan, talk to Anna, talk to anyone from the Master Center for Entrepreneurship, because they'll be able to point you in the right direction. a bit more about what we are actually doing, what we have come up with by now. So we've been busy with this for almost a year. So heating buildings with computing power. So what happens in a normal data center is you build a big concrete box. And then you stuff it with lots and lots of servers that get really hot. And then you have all that heat. You don't want your servers to melt. You're going to start cooling it. And that costs a lot of energy. So if you look at the cost of a data center, you're looking at 50% for building that really, really ugly concrete box around it, and then for adding a really, really expensive cooling system to it. And then you need to run that stuff as well. So we thought that's really, yeah, that has to happen better, and we can heat houses at the same time. So what we do is we spread a lot of servers over a lot of houses, and well, yeah, houses want to be kept warm. People like to be alive, generally, so far I heard. And then we can cut all that crap with that big concrete box. We can cut that cooling system, and we don't need to run a cooling system, saving a lot on the cost side of generating that computing power. So to actually make that happen, there's two products that we work on that we need. For one is the grid heater, and that's actually a heater with CPUs inside that can replace your current heater, and that can, if necessary, transport the heat to the outside. So the idea is that we sell that heater to homeowners, but from then on we pay for the electricity. So if you go tell people, I'm offering you free heating, they will also think you're a bit nuts. But that's fine, you just have to convince them a bit. And then we have the grid platform, and that you have all these computers now standing in houses, but all that computing power needs to go somewhere, and you want to sell it. So that's what the grid platform does. It's affordable and much more sustainable computing because it uses a lot less electricity, and it's completely scalable. We actually like to call it beyond cloud, because what we so nicely call the cloud in many startups and everything is actually a bullshit word for what's happening, because the cloud is many big concrete boxes standing down somewhere in the landscape. It's not really a cloud. But we really truly want to distribute our servers over a lot of places and get rid of that box. So it's storage and computing as a service is what we then want to offer to companies or scientists. So you have the houses with the heaters, then you have the grid platform that connects all the heaters, and that allows you to distribute your computing jobs. And as a computing client, you upload your job, it gets distributed, gets calculated, and the results come back. And we are working with a design bureau at the moment, MPK Design from Leiden. Fantastic, fantastic guys. So the idea is really that heater doesn't look that much different than a heater, just a bit prettier, because heaters, we found out, are generally quite ugly things as well. So the idea is really heaters that are prettier, but if you look at it, you still know it's a heater, you still know how to operate it without having to read a manual. And so that makes it a lot easier for people to accept. I'm going to have a server in my house. But the idea should much more be, I have a heater in my house that happens to compute. But it's just a matter of looking at it, but it will make it a lot easier for people to accept what you're doing. And from a business model side, well, the idea is we lease or sell the heater to homeowners. We pay then for the electricity of the device, so you get more or less free heating. So the homeowner saves. Then we sell the computing power to computing clients, and they of course pay us for that. Well, that's the point of selling. And they save as well, because we can generate the computing power a lot cheaper than, for example, Amazon and Microsoft can. So they save. So what happens if all your customers win? Well, you win as well. So what is really the problem we're tackling? If you look at heating, you have homeowners, of your electricity or of your energy bill, 50 to 70% will go to heating. That's quite a lot. That makes 40% of total energy use in the EU. So it's massive amounts of energy we're talking about. And these costs keep on going up. Yeah. On the computing side, you have the data centers. I already told you, they're very inefficient. They're not very pretty. And they're therefore very expensive. And for many scientists and for many businesses, the demand for computing power is really just a matter of cost. The cheaper it gets, the more detail you can put in your calculations, the more detail you can put in whatever you're rendering, and the more you can create knowledge out of the information that you're working with. And as society, for us all, computing is a way of creating progress. If you have lots of information and you have unlimited computing power, you have a huge ability to create knowledge. So the more we can compute as a society without burning all the energy we have, the more knowledge we can create. And heating, on the other hand, is a task where you burn lots of energy, you burn a lot of stuff, but yeah, all you do is keep your house warm and yourself alive, but you're not producing anything. It's a lot of energy spent on just keeping you warm. So if you combine them, you use the same amount of energy to do something very productive and to still stay nice and cozy in your house. And we've thought, well, as a startup, you look, what's the market I'm trying to serve? And we've spent quite a lot of time researching what would be the best market for us. And for the heating side, what came out for us is that Norway is our little dreamland. 99% of households heat electrically already. 94% of electricity is generated by hydropower, so it's fairly green electricity. People are very open to innovation. They have fantastic broadband networks in Norway. It's insane. You can buy up to 1,000 Mbit lines, which any hacker's dream, really. It's really cold there. That's not really surprising. I'm sure all of you know that. And they sell nearly 400,000 panel heaters a year, and that's what we want to replace. It's the panel heaters. And we can be profitable from somewhere like 300. So we're talking about less than 1% of market. So that should be possible. Of course, the market is supposed to grow. Yesterday, Homam Karimi was giving a speech at Local Heroes, and he was saying, pick a big market and pick one that will grow. So on the computing side, what can you do on our grid? You can't do everything on it. Storage doesn't create heat, not so exciting. So what we want to do on the grid is video transcoding, scientific computing, molecular simulations, engineering tasks, but there's a lot of really heavy computational things that happen every day. And that list is rather long, so I'm not going to bore you. And we want, if you look at the, it's still called cloud market. It gets me annoyed every time, but okay. Platform as a service and software as a service, those are markets that are basically scheduled to explode. We hope they don't miss the schedule. And then on our route to market, how do we want to sell this thing? Okay, we could say now we're going to buy a panel van, stuff it full of heaters and knock on every door. Would be a very boring affair and would annoy a lot of people. But we're looking for partners, and we're in talks with partners to sell the device with us so we can scale much better. And the computing power can be sold directly through our computing platform, as well as spot markets and data centers. Spot markets is basically when Amazon servers are not used enough, they just dump all the capacity at a really low price, and we can still be cheaper than that. So what have we done so far? We've had a successful crowdfunding campaign. I'll give you a few words of wisdom around crowdfunding in a moment. We've had our first investors. We've built a first prototype. We're building a second one right now. We signed the development deal with MPK Design, and we have lots and lots of people that are writing us, hey, I heard about your product, super cool, I want to heat my house for free. Especially Dutch people. I'm not sure if that's a cultural thing. But, and then we have quite a lot of computing clients that are interested. There's a university fairly big up north that's quite eager to start computing once we've built it. So we're still working on that. And yeah, if you say, I want to crowdfund too, think about it. Really be careful what you wish for. It's a really cool way to validate your business idea. It's a really cool way to raise some money. And it's a really cool way to get into the press. Hello? What happened there? It's more work than you think. And even if you think it's more work than what I think, it's going to be more work than that. It's really a pain in the ass. It's a lot of fun. But basically what we found out is most people that invested were people we had at least spoken to once or exchanged a couple of emails with. And we've had everything from people investing 20 euros to 5,000 euros, which is really cool. It's a lot of fun, but we had 153 investors in the end, raising 55,000 euros. Yeah, you're basically pitching 2 or 3 times a week at anyone. If it's your grandma that has her friends over, you're going to go pitch there. If it's the Rotary Club, if it's the local, I don't know, Pigeon Farmers Club, I don't know. Wherever, you'll go and you pitch. And that's the only way to really raise the money. And you need to prepare well. We made a video. Of course, we didn't want to spend any money on it, so I made that myself. Took me a good week and a half. Because, yeah, you think, I'll do that in 2 days. Sure, right, you will. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. Know what you're in for, but then it can be a really good thing for your business idea. So what we're doing next is we're looking for more investors. But like any hardware startup, yeah, we're developing hardware. It costs a lot of time, costs a lot of money. So we're constantly looking for investors, really. We're building a second prototype. We're doing focus groups in Norway right now. We're talking a lot to customers, seeing what's going on. And of course, we're trying to sign memorandums of understanding or letters of intent with potential customers. And I kind of want to leave it at that. What's really our dream, what we really want to reach with what we're doing, and what really gets us up every morning, is we want to create a world where heating is free and sustainable computing power is an affordable commodity. We want people to turn open a tap and I can now calculate whatever I wish. And for next to no cost, just like tap water, well, at least in Europe. Really sort of the idea that you sit on your couch with a bag of chips and your heater's on, it's nice, cozy and warm. Keep your fingers away from the thermostat, really important. And that somebody is designing a new plane or is creating a vaccine on your heater that's keeping you nice and warm. You don't actually do anything, but you're helping all of us with what you're doing. So, yeah, thank you very much for that and for letting me speak.